Hello, this is Kristina, digital marketing coach and host of KSM podcast, Growing Business Online with Kristina. Today is a new episode of KSM podcast, and I wanted to say that I have my special guest speaker, Lady Biba Pedron. Biba, welcome to KSM podcast.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and hello to everybody.
I'm super happy to have you today, and just to know that I'm super happy, as I said, and I knew that you're a coach. So can you tell us a little bit about you, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and where are you based?
Well, I'm a business and mindset expert. I help mainly solo woman entrepreneur to grow the business. I'm French. You probably hear an accent, but I live in the United States for the past 20 years, which was my dream as a little girl. So I spent 5 years in New York, and now I'm based in Miami for the past 15 years. And I really help women entrepreneurs to grow the business through strategy, visibility, impact. And that's what I teach them, because when you just have the strategy alone, that's not enough. You need the visibility in order for people to get to know who you are. And when you have the bundle of the right strategy and the right visibility, then you can impact more people. So that's really what I do to help women entrepreneurs. And using my strategy, most of my clients double or triple their revenue in 90 days.
Yeah, that's nice, and I know you for
few years
now, and you were my guest speaker in my other podcast, which is new brand KSM podcast, which I branded this year and started in January 2023. But I know that you're as a specific, as you said that your dream was to go to United States and just to start to do remotely, and your English is such a great pronunciation and fluent, because when some people from France learn English, because of and other things. But yeah, and I'm so surprised and amazing by your story. As you said, that what you did and what you dreamt about, you just realize it.
Yeah, and actually what I didn't mention is that was my dream to come to the United States. But when I moved to the United States, I pretty much didn't speak English. I moved to New York. I didn't know anybody. So I had to do everything. And the first thing that I did, because for 3 years, I was going back and forth in order to really understand how was working the US market, because it was a dream. I never could explain why the United States and why New York, but that was a dream. So I went through it. And I spent a lot of time at the library in order to understand how to do a business in the United States. So that's how I learned everything. And that's really how I decided, because I learned about networking at the time. And we didn't have networking in France 20 years ago. So I didn't know what it was. So I learned, and that's actually how I built my first business in New York. That was my second business, because I had one in France. Because actually, in order to come to the United States, I started a business in France in April 1998. I fire my boss because he didn't want me to go for vacation for 2 weeks. And I used to, at the time, go to New York very often for vacation, even if I had trouble to practice my English at the time. And so I fired my boss. I started the business in France, which allowed me to start a business in New York. And because I learned that I could get a visa starting a business, when I discovered the concept of networking, I liked the concept, since we didn't have it in France. I just noticed that the very first events when I went was like in a bar, and there was like 100 or 150 people. It was a lot of noise. And remember, I pretty much didn't speak English. I improved a little bit, but I still was not fluent. And I was like, I don't understand those American people, how they can do business with so much noise. So the very first time, actually, I went to the events, I took my name tag, I went around, and like a minute later, I was out of the bar. I said, no, there's no way. This can't work for me. But then reading a lot of books on networking, I realized that every book was saying that the American entrepreneurs said that they find 80% of their clients through networking. So I said, if I want to start a business in the United States, I have to do the way the people do, and I have to learn on doing networking. So that's why after this first failure, I decided to go back to another events. And this time I said, I won't leave until I speak with 2 people. But I kind of cheated a little bit because I took a drink and I stayed in the corner and I wait until people come to talk to me. And then I did it more and more. And I really liked the concept. So that's why I decided to organize my own events, but I didn't want to have that many people. And I started with 25 people only. And that's how I got my visa. But also organizing the networking for me, my own events, solved 2 of my problems. First, because I was shy. So when you go to a networking, and I'm sure a lot of people will relate to that, when you go to a networking, you don't really want to talk to people or break a group of people and say, hi, my name is, and this is what I'm doing. So I said, if I organize my own events, people will come to me. I will be at the door. I will welcome everybody. So people come to me. And then since my English was not good, I could say, can you speak slowly or can you repeat, which I couldn't do in a big group. So that solved 2 of my problems. And that's really how I started meeting people, entrepreneur, and that's how I grew my business. And interestingly, within less than like a year and a half, people were saying, but what is your secret? I said, what do you mean? I don't have a secret. They say, yeah, we see you everywhere now. We see your logo everywhere. People speak about Biba. And, you know, there were only 1 Biba in New York, so that's easy. And I said, what are you doing? So it's interesting because when I arrived in New York, I didn't know what kind of business I will start. I found out about networking and I decided to learn about networking. And then when people say, what's your secret? The same. I didn't plan to become a coach, but I said, if people are asking again and again and again, means I probably do something different. Or I don't even know what I was doing. But then, so that's when I become a coach, because people say, what are you doing and how do you get all of this visibility? So I created my very first program, Power of Networking Secrets. I said, okay, you wanted to know what I do. Okay, now I put everything on the table. You have everything. And at the time, we didn't have a digital product. So it was a binder with 100 pages and then like 7 or 9 CDs. But then, so I put everything that I do, but it's information, which I didn't realize, because I say, you want to know. So I give you everything that I do, and you buy it, you have my secret if you consider this as a secret. But what I didn't realize is that was just information. And then when people say, okay, now we know what you do, but we want you to help us personally. So that's really, I always listen to what people say, and that's how I started all of the business that I have, because I realized what people needed, and then I created the business around it.
Yes, and this is it. And I love what you speak about, because, and how did you start? Because, and I always, when I saw your profile and as you said, Biba is there. And you said, I only spent 15 minutes posting, which is so great, because, there are people who spend hours and hours on social media and they don't get results, or say, okay, as you said, how did you do that? What is your secret to be present everywhere?
And it's interesting because I had the question about the secret before social media. So then when social media arrived, and that thing at the beginning where we met at a networking online. And at the beginning of social media, yes, I had the same question. People say, how are you doing? We see you everywhere in French and in English. And that's, I was used to say at the time, and it's still true, like 15 years or 18 years later, I say, I only spend 15 minutes a day on social media, because I don't go, and remember, like if it was like 18 years ago, social media was not as big as it is today. Now people have so many distractions with the video, with everything. You click there, like 3 hours later, you're still watching video that make no sense for your business. And I always said, well, I go on social media, I post, I look only at profiles and connect with people that are my target market. And that's the reason why I can do it 15 minutes. So of course, when you learn how to do it, it may take an hour, then it takes 45 minutes. But at the end, when you know really how to do it, it's really 15 minutes a day. And then it's interesting because then, so I started to teach social media also. But then now I hear a lot of big marketers who say that, and something that I used to say years ago, that it's important to invite like 5 to 10 people, new people a day on social media, but you have to make sure that it's your target market. And if you do that, of course, all of them won't reply to you, but the numbers, the people who reply, that's how you know after that, how you continue the conversation with them. And that's how these people will either turn out the clients, or you will become the clients because maybe you need their services, or you can start partnership with it. And I always say that when it's come to networking, whether it's in person or on social media, it's important to know what's the step after you meet the person. Because let's say you go to an event in person, you go to events, and I remember when I was in New York, we used to have at least 20 events a day, so you had choices. And at the end of the 5 years, I was organizing 5 events a month. So you have plenty of opportunities. So people go to a lot of networking events, collect a lot of business cards, but then they just don't do anything. And it's just a waste of time and money. So the networking process is very important. And that's why when I created my first program, and then I created another one, I say, do you know what to do after you meet the people at the networking events, or when you meet people now on social media? Because if you just send a message and you stay there, nothing happened. And a few years ago, I heard this number and I was shocked about it, because I heard that most of the people, more of 40% of the people, they just send an email the next day or something like that. But the statistic shows that you can convert a person after networking events between the follow-up, the 5th and the 12th follow-up. 80% of the sales come from the follow-up between the 5th and the 12th. But who is doing between 5 and 12 follow-up? Almost nobody, or at least 80% of the people just don't do it. So that's why sometimes people say that networking is not working. But if you do it correctly, and that's why actually, and I have my book here because I showed it to somebody recently, and I had it. In 2015, I wrote this book. It's called Stop Pitching and Start Networking. Because people don't really know how to network effectively. And that's why they don't get a conversion. But if you know how to network correctly, then you have, and that's really how you grow your business. And even today, I said to all of my clients, either in the French market, in the US market, if you really want to grow your business faster, you have to attend at least one networking in person and speak in public at least once a month. And in addition to that, you have everything that is virtual.
Yeah, and as you said, there are some for networking, and we really need to know how to network, because when you network and you have weekly, for example, networking events with the same people, or people just went on join new members and whoever, and there are people who say, okay, you introduce yourself like 30 seconds, whatever maybe, and they say, okay, I love what you do. And but all of us go there to get clients, to have clients, And in terms of networking, as you said, networking is really going to work when you know how to network and do follow up. But people don't have time to do it, and they don't know how to do it. So it's going to be very well that if you have any kind of webinars or something like that, maybe our listeners will list this in KSM podcast in this episode on Amazon, Apple, Google Podcast, public radio in New York, and FM Player, and other Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Maybe just connect with Biba, and listeners will learn about you and connect with you to know how to do networking,
Yeah. Actually, when I wrote that book about networking in 2015, I wanted to offer a bonus to people. So I contacted different people to create audio, and because video was not that big at the time, so to do a bonus as an audio. And I had the pleasure to interview Ivan Misner, the founder of BNI. And he said that most of the time, because I was not in this, I had a club in New York for networking, and I said, people come, they sign up for a year, but after like 6 months, you don't see them. And people say, oh yeah, but I see the same people over, I need new people. I say, but if you don't get to know people, if you get new people all the time, how does that work for you? Because you never have the time to learn about the people, to be able to refer them people, and then the same about them. They saw you, but they don't know you. And he was saying that the result, and remember that BNI, they meet once a week. He said the first year, you get to know the people. The second year, you're more confident that you will be able to refer them more people. So it doesn't mean nothing happened the first year, but he said the second year works much better. And then he said the third year, that's really what the business explode, because now people know each other. But I say, yeah, but how do you do to keep people 3 years? Because I noticed that more people, they live about 6 to 9 months. He said, I know, I have the same thing with BNI. Just because people don't know how to network. And then he used to, and I recommend his book also. He has a book called Networking Pro, and he has numbers of books on networking. I really recommend people to read that book, in addition to mine, of course. And I remember in his book, Networking Pro, the founder of Zappos was mentioning also, he did a testimonials, and he mentioned the same thing. He said, even listeners say that we need 3 years, but it's really the third year that he exploded his business at Zappos. It said that there's no comparison between what happened the first year, the second year, and what happened the third year. So it's really important that you have the time to get to know people in order for them to get to know you and refer you to other people, and vice versa.
And they cannot get you, and they cannot know about you if they don't, as you said by Ivan Meisner, just for the first year you just start to know them, and every single week they have something in BNI, like you have intro 30 seconds to introduce your business and yourself. Yeah, and this is. But what is the point of what is a focus on KSM podcast, Growing Business Online? Is that just to help people to get much more visibility and to grow online. And what I love, to get back on track at start of your business, when you said that you imagined that you wanted to start working remotely. And when you just said, okay, I was cut off my business in Friday, and I started my online remote business just remotely to work on Monday. It was amazing, and because of that, sometimes I think about that you're some kind of pioneer or remote job, working remotely. Is that correct in some way,
Yeah, but it's interesting because I didn't realize it. So the business that I had in France that I started in 1998, I first started as what we call today a virtual assistant. It was the very beginning of virtual assistant in France. So when I explained what I was doing, I said, I can be your assistant, but I won't be in your office. I can be in the next street, I can be in the next country, or I can be on the other side of the world. So it was difficult for people to explain. But the only reason why I did this, and people say now that, you were visionary. I said, well, I didn't realize, maybe, but not at the time. I just did what I needed to do because I didn't know really what business to start, but being a virtual assistant allowed me to just invest in a computer because I pretty much didn't know how to use a computer either. So I had to learn. But I didn't know what to do. This business didn't ask me so much investment. The only thing that I knew was that I wanted a business that I could manage from anywhere with a phone, a computer, and an internet connection. And remember, that was April 1998, which was the beginning of internet. I didn't even know that he will grow the way it is. But that was my first motivation, because I said one day I want to move my business to New York. Yeah. So then my French business went for the first 6 months as a VA. Then I turned it as a telemarketing because most of the people see, and I was a salesperson before that for years. So I said, assistant typing on the computer, I don't really know. That's not my thing. And I'm not good at it. But, set up appointment, call people, sell product on the phone, that I know how to do it. So my business, within 6 months, I switched the business to telemarketing. But when I arrived in the US, remember that I didn't speak English. When I said I didn't speak English, I had few words like, when the English that you speak when you finish school, which is pretty much you can ask the toilet and the menu at the restaurant. That's pretty much it. So of course I won't be able to do telemarketing in English. And I tried for 1 month. I had so many people who hang up on me who say, can you repeat? What's your name? Can you spell your name? And can you repeat again? So many people hang up on me. I say, okay, I can't do that. So I continued the telemarketing in the French business, but then I started the networking in French. But yeah, it's interesting when a lot of people now say, you were a visionary to work remotely. I say, I don't know. I just did what I had to do in order to realize my dream. That was just my motivation and my determination.
It's nice. And I know that you, in terms of networking and digital and marketing, you wrote a few books. Can you tell us a little bit about your books, which you wrote in French and in English as well?
Actually, those two, and I have them because I did a boot camp like last week about books and how to write books. This is the first one that I wrote in 2006. It's called Start Your Dream Business Today, because I learned few stuff about marketing, and that I realized when people say, what is your secret, that I had a process. I didn't realize it, but I had a process. So I wrote the book at the time, and then in 2015, the one about networking. Those first two were in English. The number 3 was a French publisher who contacted and pushed me for more than a year. He said, I want to translate your books and have it in French. At first I said, no, thank you, I don't need that. And then they push. So in 2016, I had my very first book in French. And now I'm ready to launch number 9, which is like, well, we launched it this month, which one it's in French. And I wrote it, that the second edition that I wrote with 30 clients of mine. And you and I, we were in the collaborative book safe, I think it's 2016 or something like that.
2019.
19, okay, yep. So I thought it was before that. Yeah, we were together. But the book that I prefer the most is that one, because it's called MDR, the winning formula for a successful life. MDR in French means, if I translate MDR, it's LOL, laughing out loud. That will be the translation. But for me, and I use this because I know people will say, oh, I will laugh in her book. And for me, it's completely different. And I explain it even on the back of the book. But MDR means your motivation plus your determination equal the realization of all of your dreams, even the widest one, because that's really my life. I have dreams, I go to there, even if it takes forever. And interestingly, MDR was the exact same word in English. So that's good. I could keep the formula. So this is a book about mindset. And for me, that's my favorite book, because, when you start a business, there's no way that you can succeed a business if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't have the right people around you. So if you have people around you who tell you that it's not possible, you won't be able to make it, like I did when I started in France, when I quit my job on a Friday evening to start a business because I didn't really know what I would start. On the Monday morning, of course, people around me, my family, my friends say, you're completely crazy. You don't realize, but within 30 days, you won't even have any money anymore. You won't have any salary. And at the time I'm very young age, starting 25 years old. I started making a lot of money in the job that I had. Then I lost everything because I wanted a better job. And overnight, I lost my salary was divided by 3 because I made a bad choice. But I had money, I had no money, I had money, I had no money. But then that's what I learned. And on the book, there's my story, but I have also story of other people to show people that you can have all the obstacles that you can have in your life. And I have people who went through war. I have people who had very, very strong story. You can go to everything. Like when I started my business in the US, I thought, now I will be rich and famous. Now nobody can stop me. I have my visa, I have my business. Yeah, boom, 4 months later, I heard that I have breast cancer. Then 10 years later, again, coming back. It's what's in your guts and you really want it, you won't let the little voice, you won't let the people tell you around you that it's not working, that it's not for you, or that's impossible. But you try to not listen to them, but it's important at the same time that you meet the right people and who have the right mindset. That's what I always say. When you grow your mindset, I have a bad news and I have a good news. The bad news is that at some point you will lose friends because you don't even think the same way. And it's not like you don't like each other anymore. You just don't have anything in common. You don't have any conversation that you can have because you think completely different. But the good news is now that you will meet people who have that mindset, the right mindset, and even bigger mindset than you, and they will help you and they will support you and they will help you to grow. So that's why for me, the book about mindset, because we say that the formula of a successful business is 80% mindset, 20% marketing. So you have to have the right people around you that can help you, whether it's a mentor, it's a coach, you would join a mastermind, or people that can be friends, but friends who will help you, will always be happy to teach you something and happy when you have a success, and they will celebrate with you, and not people who tell you all the time that you can't do, or when you have a success, they will deny you successes, or they will be jealous of your success.
Yeah, and this is nice, and I know, and thank you for, I'm in your book that which you mentioned, and put some review about it, the MDR meaning formula. So I'm super happy, and thank you. And I have your book in my hands, physical hard copy. So thank you so much. And this is such a valued book, and I highly recommend our listeners to connect with you and just to find a way to connect with you and get your book, because this book is very, very valued, very that people can learn different stories and to know much more about you and to know how to grow their business and how to connect with right people to build
trying
their
to find
business.
your name on the book. I know you're there. I'm trying to find your name on the book. I can't find. Yeah, you're right here.
Yes, yeah, I'm right here. Yes.
You're right here.
Yeah,
on the book.
right. Yes, right here. And I put some reviews there.
Thank you for the testimony.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your or opportunity to get testimony on your book. And for people who wanted to start business, I'm always has some message for our listeners who are in stocks to start business, or they have business idea but they don't know how to start. Just have you some message of encouragement to move forward and do networking or find a way how to get clients from that?
In order to start a business?
In order to start a business.
Well, first of all, you have to learn about the business first. Like at least I did in the US. I went to the library for 3 months to read all the books. I didn't know anything about networking. So about doing business. So first you have to learn about it. Then you have to meet people. You have to ask the right question. And the mistake that I did is for a long time, and especially because in the French market, we didn't have business coach. So I didn't even know what it was when I arrived 20 years ago. But if you want to make sure that you start faster, it's important that you have either a mentor or a coach. You learn from people who already did it, already spent a lot of time to learn how to do it. So you have the express way to win the business. And then again, it's to have the right people around you and make sure that you continue to learn, because whatever the level of your business, your mindset will change. Your mindset that will take you to 100K is not the same mindset will take you to 500K, to the million and over. So it's always important to have more and more people to support you and to learn from. Don't try to do everything on your own.
And you have always someone to engage, to connect, to get a mentor and coach if you don't know how to do it. Is that correct? Absolutely. And to surround with people who support you. Sometimes you need only one person to support you and just to spread the word and move forward in your business.
It's important that you understand, you have the right mindset to understand that you have invest in you, and meaning invest in you means sometimes invest in mentors or in coaches to learn from them. So you have to spend some money, but if you spend the money correctly, that will be an investment, and you see return on investment because you will learn much faster. So your business will grow much faster. You will have clients much faster.
And how people work with you? Do you do group coaching one-to-one? And can you share with us your how listeners can connect with you on social media or email or your website?
In the US market for the moment, I only do one-on-one coaching. The only thing that I do as a group is a 2-day bootcamp where I help people to write a book in 48 hours. Because as I said, I wrote 9 books. Only the first one, I wrote it from first page to last page. Now, luckily, I learned how the way, and I teach people on how to do it in 2 days. And then in the French market, I have a mastermind. I have a club for women only, and I do one-on-one coaching. And I do events like I will be soon in Switzerland. I will be in Belgium. I'm speaking in different places. I will do an event in Paris, and then I will come back to Miami.
Yeah, and you're a speaker, you know, as a published speaker, public speaker also. And your website is www.
So my website is just my name, so it's
bibapedron.com.
And for the US version, you /US, so you will go to the US version.
And the listeners can connect you on LinkedIn as well. I mean,
LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm not a big fan of Instagram, but for sure you search for Biba Pedron, you will find me on Facebook. I have a page in English and a page in French, and you can reach me on LinkedIn also.
Biba, what to say? I'm super happy having you as my special guest speaker. It's such a pleasure talking to you today, and you share such amazing story and very, very inspirational for people who wanted to start, especially online business, and who dream to live their dreams. I mean, as you have done.
I just would like to finish something. My motto is I do what I want, when I want, where I want, with who I want, making sure that money is never an issue. And that's really what I want to share with people. And that's what I teach them on how to do the same, because it's already hard to quit your job and to start a business. A business is not easy. You have ups and downs, you have obstacles. But when your business allows you to have the lifestyle that you want and the lifestyle that you choose, instead of living the lifestyle other people are telling you, that's when I think I did my job, when I can help people doing their dreams thanks to the business.
And what I'm super happy, because you are one of my co-authors of our common book together, Global Women in Business, which is published in 2019 in Melbourne, Australia. So I'm super happy with that. Just 2 of us are co-authors on that global level, on global business. And I'm super, super happy with that. And it's my pleasure just to be with you and other 5 ladies who are all around the world, from France, US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and USA. So this is lovely. Thank you, Biba, again, and it was lovely and pleasure talking to you, and see you very soon in some of my next episode of KSM.
Thanks again for the invitation.
Thank you so much. And my motto is be persistent, be consistent, be successful. Thank you again, and have a nice day. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.